Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our daily get-together live here on Facebook every day of the week, 10:30 in the morning, where we take a look at current headlines. What do you mean my disc is almost full? Oh, no. Let me unfill my disc so that we can continue doing this broadcast. Otherwise, we won't have space to save it. Oh, I have plenty of space. Never mind. This is our daily get together here on Facebook where we examine headlines, comments, ideas, questions, suggestions, all kinds of information that helps us have an amazing life here in Puerto Vallarta. As a community of English-speaking locals, it is always a pleasure to get in touch with you every morning, and it is always a pleasure to welcome new friends to our broadcast. So if you are new, my name is Paco, and you can let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comment. And if you have important questions or things that you want to share, it helps a lot if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment. Of course, there's all kinds of wonderful people that join us on a daily basis or almost on a daily basis. So it is a pleasure to see you all. Mike is chiming in from Chicago. It's great to see you. Dan, of course, is always here. And Deb, we just wished you a happy birthday. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the the video of the tamales. And yesterday is Tamale Day, and we're going to talk a little bit about why we're eating tamales today and why not? Why not eating them? Why not eat them every single day of the year? Well, we would gain a lot of weight if we did, that's for sure. But tamales are great every time you enjoy them. And thank goodness we can enjoy tamales year-round, not just today, which is Dia de la Candelaria. Everybody's having tamales this morning. This is wonderful. I was lucky enough to start my tamal consumption last night. An unnamed angel knocked on my door at 10 p.m. coming back from a party, and there were a lot of tamales there, and they were so good, so good. And yes, I have my cock shirt on. It's the first one that I found that was clean, so we're going to use that today. Let's see what else we see. Who else is here? Well, there's so many of you. This is really wonderful. It is always great to see you. Today we have a little bit of everything, great news and not so great news, as always. There's always a little bit of news, but we don't have terribly bad news today, which is a good thing. So let us get going. Let us get started with, Gina, you're here. This means that we can finally get together and have a glass of wine and talk about the wonderful, perilous life of a flight attendant. It would be so great to put something together. Let us get together and maybe we can have a nice conversation. Let's see. Dennis asks, is there a time when seniors can go to Costco in La Comer? Yes, after February 12th. That's when you can go. Let's see. Any other questions that we can see? Nothing right now, so let's just dive into the news. Well, what seemed to be an appearance of a British or Brazilian strain of coronavirus in our state seems to be apparently a brand new mutation or variant of COVID, which seems to have originated in our very own city of Puerto Vallarta. I don't know if this is something we should be proud of or not, but this is currently being researched. As you know, a few days ago, we um, discussed the fact that there were 4 cases of coronavirus that appeared in the state, and everybody wanted to think that these were other variants, but everything seems to indicate that this is a brand new variant that apparently was originated here in the friendliest city in the world, Puerto Vallarta. We will have to see what this turns out to be, but of course, that doesn't change anything as far as what we need to do or not do not need to do during these days. I want to let you know that our president of Mexico, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, or AMLO as we call him, um, is doing better, is feeling better. He got coronavirus a little over a week ago, and it is expected that he will be back in business, back to take care of his public functions as of this coming Monday. Let us continue to hope and pray for the betterment of his health. I also want to give you important news. The Mesa de Salud, the health committee here in the state of Jalisco, has authorized that we can go back and exercise in public sporting facilities and also at health clubs during the current set of restrictions. This is extremely good news because one of the responsibilities that this health committee has is not only to look at how to decrease the number of cases that are taking place currently, but also to look at long term consequences of the decisions that are being taken today. One of those consequences is, I mean, if we're not out exercising and taking care of our bodies, and of course, exercise goes hand in hand with our emotional well being, then, that can have negative consequences in the future. I mean, just think about all the children and young adults that have been out of school or formal school for over a year. So, needless to say, there's going to be all kinds of long term consequences to the kind of choices we are having to make today. But the good news is that we can go back and spend time in the outdoors. This more specifically, this starting today, February the 2nd, people can go out and exercise in places such as parks, urban forests, sporting facilities, sporting clubs, gymnasiums, and natural protected areas. Maybe, just maybe, we can go and visit the Estero El Salado now that we are able to do this. But needless to say, when we're out and about exercising, we still continue to want to be very careful as to the decisions we make in terms of how close we get to people and so forth and so on. Crystal Leslie asks, does this include parks and playgrounds? My niño needs to burn energy. Everything seems to indicate that that is the case. So there you have it. Just be careful out there. And we'll talk a little bit about walking in a little while. Momo asks, vaccine news. No, thank you. We don't have any. Well, I don't know what to tell you. The vaccines are coming and they're being distributed. And until they are being distributed to the general population, we are really not going to have much new vaccine news. So let me continue with the news, and we'll come back to your questions in a second. This is unfortunate and amusing that our police force needs to go through sensitivity training on how to deal with public situations in which it's car versus bicycle or vice versa. Because apparently, in instances in our city where there have been accidents that involve bicycles and cars, city officials have no clue as to how to implement the traffic laws when it comes to dealing with bicycles. And of course, local bicycle riders approached the Human Rights Commission in our state and said, hello, state, guess what? In Puerto Vallarta, policemen have no idea of what our rights are as bicycle riders. So the good news is that the police force is now having to take sensitivity training if they want to continue working. And this is good news for all the bicycle riders in the city. Hopefully, this will show some kind of change in the way policemen interact with bicycle riders when bicycle riders may not necessarily be at fault in an accident. And I have some awesome news for those of you living in Aramara. And this is that the streets in Colonia Aramara are now being fixed. Apparently, Aramara was opened as a neighborhood 40 years ago. And according to some of these reports, somebody says here it was 48 years ago that the Colonia was built. And the only thing that has changed in the last 40 years was 20 years ago when they fixed the plumbing. So I don't know if you've ever been to Aramara. It's a beautiful older residential neighborhood. And I've seen some of the streets and they are just desperately wanting to be fixed. And thank goodness now the city is doing that. And this is a good thing for anybody that lives there. Let me take a quick look at your questions and comments just so we can move forward to our weather. Let's see. Old farts can shop from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. At La Comer. Fabulous. That's not what the government expects us to do, but it's nice that the store is taking some move. So if you choose to go shopping at places where you know you shouldn't be shopping, it's entirely up to you. Ultimately, we know that. We all get to make our own decisions and we have to be responsible for our choices. Let's see what else we have. I don't see any cues. I don't see any cues. I don't see any cues. So we can continue on with the weather. Bam. Oh, it's Groundhog Day. Is that the day when you pardon the turkey? No, that's a different business. Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day, isn't that the day in which folks in the United States cast their fate to the mindset of a gopher or something like that? Anyhow, it is 25 degrees today. Feels like 27. Humidity is high at 62 degrees, which is unfortunate because I have to go walking places. It would be Fahrenheit. It was 77 degrees Fahrenheit today. And the weather forecast for the rest of the day is it's going to be partly cloudy with a high temperature of 28, low temperature of 18. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow is going to be clear through the day with a high temperature of 28, low temperature of 17. Tomorrow, of course, is Walking Wednesday, and I already have a great surprise ready for you. And Thursday, it's going to be clear through the day with a high temperature of 30, low temperature of 17. Not bad at all. It is weather that we love and enjoy this time of year. So, moving right on with our headlines. Today is Candelaria Day, and why we eat tamales on the day of the Candelaria. Well, we know this has to do with the fact that you got the little baby Jesus in the bread that you ate on February 6th, but there's a lot, on January 6th, but there is a lot of ancient history involved here. And there was this fabulous article on Excelsior today that I didn't get a chance to read in its entirety. But of course, there is a coincidence in what goes on February 2nd. February 2nd is the date in which, according to Moses' law and according to the Bible, uh, well, not that, okay, there's, see, this is what's complicated about this. 40 days after children are born, they are supposed to be taken to church. And this is 40 days after the mother has eliminated any trace of blood from her birth, from birthing a child. Um, and this is something that has been celebrated by the Hebrews, uh, and but this coincided with a date in which the Aztecs also used to um, do sacrifices for the god Tlaloc, who's the god of rain. And this coincided, don't ask me how, with a celebration on the Canary Islands. Is that what they're called in English? And that's where the Virgin of the Candelaria comes from. So, of course, it's one of those things in which when the priests, Catholic priests, came to Mexico and encountered all of us stubborn Aztecs as to why we were praising so many gods. And of course, the Catholic priests were like, well, you cannot be going around praising all those gods because there's only one almighty God, and have some tamales while you're at it so that you can be distracted from all your almighty gods. And this is exactly, he says, how we came about to eating tamales in Candelaria Day. Of course, it's not exactly. Of course, I just made, well, I didn't make anything up, but I'm like trying to translate and have a conversation with you at the same time. But the bottom line is we are here in 2021 in COVIDlandia, and today is the day to eat tamales. You already knew that, but where is my tamale hat? Do I still have it? Yes, I do. Let's wear it for a little while. You should also know that there are some specific tamales to the state of Jalisco. You see, there are over 500 varieties of tamales in Mexico. So you could go one day after the next and continue to eat tamales, and you would not eat all the tamales that you could possibly eat in Mexico. Weight Watchers, fuck them. Let's just eat a lot of tamales. So here we go. We have an article about 4 tamales that are typical to the state of Jalisco that you should try. Look at that gay one. It has many colors. We'll get to the gay tamal. The gay tamal. We'll get to that in a second. We started with the tamal tapatio, which is described as having the traditional masa, but it has rice. They add rice to the masa, and it is stuffed with beef or pork, cooked in tomato, pasilla peppers, almonds, raisins, olives, onion, and spices, giving more of a spongy outcome than the traditional tamales. Then there is what is known as a tamal colado, which is a sweet tamal, which is strained, and it is made with a sweet masa made with condensed milk, cloves, cinnamon, and salt. And you can also add nuts and chopped peanuts. And you can find those tamales in the town of Tapalpa. And then there is the charred tamal. I think it's charred. Tamal de acelga. Let me just verify. Alexa, ¿cómo se dice acelga en inglés?
Acelga en inglés es char.
Oh, yes, of course, yes. Acelga in English, as according to Alexa, is charred. So these are charred tamales that you can find at the Pueblo Mágico of Tapalpa. Here, the masa is stuffed with acelgas or charred and with cheese, and it is served with a green sauce that is creamy and with sour cream and with fresh cheese. And finally, we get to this rainbow. Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Somebody decided to come up with pride, gay pride tamales. This is a reality. This is a multicolored tamal that is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Let us not send a letter of discontent to the town of San Pedro Tlaquepaque if this particular tamal is missing a rainbow color. But This is a sweet tamal created in San Pedro Tlaquepaque to celebrate the Pride celebrations. Who knew? Who knew that the town of San Pedro Tlaquepaque is so incredibly gay friendly that they would actually come up with their own rainbow tamal. I need to show you before we get done with the tamal business because we've been tamaled out for the last week. And I'll look at your comments in a second. Actually, let me look at your comments first, and then we will close the subject of tamales at least for a little while. Let's see. Uh, okay, all kinds of commentary about the groundhog. Where am I walking? Angelica says, where are you walking, Paco? You know, I have a broad answer to that question, Angelica. The broad answer to that question is I am walking everywhere and anywhere I will feel safe. And that's an important parameter for me. I would love to go walk into all kinds of stores and markets and stuff like that. I'm just walking. Well, first of all, I'm walking for mental health and for physical health, but I'm walking places where I can feel safe. Where am I walking tomorrow? Do you really want me to get away? I think it should be a surprise, but if you want to know, if you're dying to know where we're going tomorrow, just write the word tomorrow in your comments, and that will be a hint that you don't like surprises and that you want to know where we're walking, which is perfectly fine. Uh, let's see what else. Oy vey. Oy vey, says James Binder. It sounds so primitive, all these rules and mixing of Catholicism with Aztec rituals. How well, just imagine what the poor Spaniards must have gone through when they, came here, sailed. Maybe some of them even questioned the fact that there was another world in the other end of the world, and they get here thinking, "Praise Jesus, we're here," and imagine them running into the Aztecs, going, "Praise Jesus! Who the fuck is that?" Here we praise to Tlaloc, and we praise to Huitzilopochtli, and we praise to all these other gods. So, I mean, it must have been an interesting time to living when you think about it. Are there specific tamales to be eaten for Candelaria? There are not, James. It's all the tamales you can fit in your beautiful stomach. They are just wonderful. But again, tamales are for every day, and thank goodness we can find them all the time. Fernando says, honey. So I don't know if that honey is for me or if the tamal is made of honey, but honey, I love it. Tamal oaxaqueño, I love that. I love that. Your Alexa answered to, well, we do that every now and then. It happens to the best of us. Wonder if people know that tamal is singular and tamales is plural. I have a personal issue with that because in English, the English dictionary says that tamal is spelled with an E at the end. And I think, okay, fine, whatever. But to me, a tamal is a tamal, and I don't think about it as a tamale. But that's just me. Did anyone go to the ice skating rink? It opened yesterday. My question back would be, did it open at all, Linda? You see, we talked about this, and the folks at the nice ice skating rink decided that they were not going to open it just yet because it is the kind of activity that is not allowed during the current restriction period. So I don't think it's working. Let's see. I see a tomorrow. I see a surprise. I see a tomorrow. I see a surprise. I see more surprise than tomorrow. So, I see another tomorrow. Can't wait to see where you are walking tomorrow. I'm fine with a surprise. What to do? What to do? I think I'm not going to tell you where we're walking tomorrow. Anticipation is lovely. Let's be surprised. I'm going to go with Deb because it's her birthday. So we are not going to talk about the walk for tomorrow. Just know that tomorrow we are going to a lovely place with a lovely view. Okay. So now that we can put the tamal business to rest. Now, when I say to rest, it doesn't mean that we're not going to eat them anymore. I have a final tamal video to share with you. And I guess I just gave it away by saying that it is a tamal video. Let us start with a premise that we know that here in Mexico, there are cars that drive by and they sell you all kinds of products. and they have loudspeakers to indicate what they're selling and so forth and so on. Well, there's this famous interview that Prince Harry did for the BBC, and this is when Prince Harry was being a brave soldier and being a part of the British Armed Forces. And halfway through the video, he's probably in an Air Force or base, an air base or something, because halfway through the video, um, a siren comes on and he stops the interview and just goes running to save the world. Well, watch what happens when this video gets in the hands of tamal loving people from Mexico.
His duty was very clear to say,
It wasn't done in the wrong way.
Acérquese y pida sus ricos tamales oaxaqueños. Hay tamales oaxaqueños, tamales calientitos.
And you see, that's what happens if you're sitting at home minding your own business and all of a sudden you hear the car that's going by saying tamales calientitos. You have to stop everything that you're doing and you have to run like all hell, because you have to go and get your tamales before the car goes away. And that, my dear, brings us to the end of our Tamal Awareness Week. Let us continue with other kinds of things and other things to look forward to. You may remember that at the beginning of the year, our president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, promised that there would be a series of important celebrations of the Foundation of Mexico during the year. The first one is coming up in about 2 weeks. So we're going to start getting historical around here, but not today. Today, I want to also talk to you a little bit more about walking. Of course, from my point of view, if I may, for me to walk is a challenge of days in which I want to walk for physical stamina, in which case I want to go quickly. Then there are days in which I'm walking to share with you. So I'm mindful of the fact that I'm carrying a camera and I don't want to trip and I want to make sure that I'm pointing it in the right direction. And then there are days in which I want to just stop and capture everything with my camera. And that happens really frequently because a lot of times I see all kinds of wonderful things as I go by. And such is the case of a walk that I've done before through Las Gaviotas, which is this beautiful residential neighborhood just down the street. And I went by Las Gaviotas on Sunday because I was going to go to Siam Cuisine to get some Thai food with a dear friend. Let me see. What I want to show you is a quick overview of where Las Gaviotas was. Here is Francisco Villa. And up here, in fact, let me scroll this down. There is Costco and La Comer. And Gaviotas is over here. And my walk to get to where Bonito Kitchen and Siam Cuisine, which are over here, is down Paseo. Oh, get out of my way, you thing. There you go. It's up and down Paseo del Salmón, which is this little windy street that I walk by. It doesn't take long to get there. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. But the beautiful thing about walking down Las Gaviotas, this neighborhood, is that it is a neighborhood that since its foundation, they have resisted vertical development. You cannot buy a property in Las Gaviotas and go ahead and build tall buildings. Thank goodness. So we've walked it before. There was a video of it. But this Sunday, instead of just going in a hurry, I decided I would share with you one of the reasons that makes me love walking down that street, down Paseo del Salmón, so much. And it is the gorgeous, ginormous trees that you see along the way. So that's exactly what I want to show you today. It's not Walking Wednesday, but it's okay. So usually I start my walk and I'm heading down Brazil Street, and there's La Parrilla de Villa, which is right behind my house. I love to shop with them because they make excellent tacos and whatnot. But then you cross the street of Vienna and all of a sudden you are on the other side. You are now in Las Gaviotas, and look at these ginormous trees. they're beautiful. And this was Sunday afternoon. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so the sun was already beginning to set, so the quality of light was absolutely beautiful. As I was walking by, there was this guy very carefully trimming one of his trees. And this is something else that's really awesome about the neighborhood, whether it is the owners themselves or the gardeners that they hire. There is a lot of incentive to keep the neighborhood looking beautiful. Look at that ginormous tree. I mean, it is ancient, and every time I walk under it, it is it is just amazing. It is amazing to stand under its shade because of the size of the tree. There are also interesting constructions and homes to take a look at. There's beautiful old type of architecture in this neighborhood. So I wanted to share a little bit of this. This is Calle Paseo del Salmón that I'm walking on, and it is an intersection where you can see a lot of people walking on the main avenue, and it is very safe. It is actually a beautiful place to go walking. That's another beautiful home that you'll find, and again, it's a place where if you wanted to go shopping for a home today, most of the homes that are here are really really large. So I don't know um, that anybody would want to have such a large home nowadays, unless you were um, looking to have a big house for your family. This is my favorite tree. Look at the size of that mother. It seems to be, and I've never even gotten so close to it to know what kind of tree it is. I see it from afar, and I almost don't even want to approach it because it is so gorgeous and round and imposing. And then there's a park as you get into. There's another colonia next to Las Gaviotas that is called Jardines de las Gaviotas, and this is a beautiful park. And the houses are a little smaller here, which are absolutely beautiful as well. And as you approach the main avenue, there's a kiosco, and that would be the avenue that brings you back to where Costco is. And of course, that's the look of the main avenue. On the left side, you can barely see Siam cuisine. And if you were to walk in that direction for 3 blocks, you would end up back where La Comer is and where Costco is. So that is what happened on Sunday. And I just wanted to show you a little bit of these photographs because I never get tired of walking down that neighborhood. And if you're looking for a quiet, peaceful walk, I totally think you can safely go walking in Las Gaviotas and not feel threatened by the fact that there are a lot of people around you and so forth. Let me take a quick look at your final comments and see what you have to say. Let's see. Do I see any cues? Tomorrow is not tamale. I pinche Michael. You crack me up. And when I say pinche Michael is an endearment. It's an endearing phrase. You can actually say pinche someone and mean it like in a loving kind of way. Like many insults or words that are insulting in Spanish, if you say them tenderly, they are actually a way to show affection. Can you post the Prince Harry video link, por favor? I will not, Melanie, because it is so easy to find. I don't even have to. Just Google Prince Harry tamale, and trust me, you will find it on your own even before I could even go looking for it for you. Let's see what else. Lots of comments about Las Gaviotas. I appreciate that very much. Karen says, now that is a tree. And you see, that is a tree, Karen. And it is so sad to see other parts of the city where developers come in and showing absolutely no regard, they will remove these ginormous trees. And they're supposed to be laws. And there actually are laws in which you cannot just remove a tree. You need to go through a special permit. And the good thing is that locals are very culturally sensitized to the fact that you can't just pluck a tree of the streets. What is unfortunate is that more often than not, we find out about trees that are removed after they have already been removed. And when it's the case of such a large ancient tree like these trees, there's no way of going back. And that is very, very, very sad. Joe says, imagine how many iguanas are in the larger trees. Absolutely. I mean, it's their habitat. Um, and Linda makes a comment to the effect of what I was just mentioning. And again, there is a tree, if you're going up the highway and then you want to take a right to enter Emiliano Zapata, there's a gorgeous tree as you're going down into the neighborhood. And there's a big sign that says, don't touch this tree. The neighbors are watching. And that is absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else we have. Yes, like cabron. If you say cabron, no seas cabron, that can be a sweet thing. But again, I insist. When you're starting to use the big words like cabron and pendejo and stuff like that, you want to be extremely careful as to how you enunciate them and what kind of feeling or emotion is attached to your saying the word. I have not one, but two links to wrap things up that have nothing to do with Puerto Vallarta, but I thought you would appreciate them one way or another. The first one is funny. The second one is thoughtful. The first one has to do with this video of a man that is eating the world's hottest chili pepper in record time and how he suffers through the process. You have to watch it. This guy, I'm just looking at his face. It is absolutely painful. But hey, there are some people out there that are set on setting records, and he happens to be one of them. And that is one of the things that I wanted to share. And last but not least, this next headline makes me a little sad because it has to do with Tony Bennett and how his family has acknowledged to the world that Mr. Bennett is battling Alzheimer's disease. And I cannot think of something. I just think it's so very sad. A man that has been both so generous with his life and with his artistry and has produced so many beautiful songs and music through so many years, to get to a point in which he will not even be able to be aware of it makes me truly sad. So I know that Luna and I will be listening to some Tony Bennett today just to send some good vibes into the universe. And hopefully you'll do something similar. So let me take a final look at some of your comments. Pat says comments aren't updating for me. I hope that's not something I said. It's probably a glitch on the matrix. And I don't know what else to tell you. Mr. Bennett is a very good man. Absolutely. We just played one of his music videos not too long ago, and I agree and kind of disagree with you, Stephanie, because something as devastating as Alzheimer's, it's sad when it happens to anyone, not only to good people. I think it is just sad when disease takes over. And I think we're mindful of that in these day and age when we see that people around us get COVID, and instead of reaching out and first thing to say is, I hope this person gets better. A lot of times we're bound to say, well, that person should have known better, and we become judgmental instead of being kind. So yes, it is sad when bad things happen to good people, but I think it's also sad when bad things happen to bad people as well. And that's just me. What can I tell you? And that brings us to the end of Coffee and Headlines today. As always, I'm so very, very, very happy to spend time with you and hear your comments and watch you react to mine. It is so much fun. As always, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your kindness, and I thank you for your support. If for those of you that are supporting members, time to start thinking of another perk, because we're going to have the tamale perk going on for a little while. The video, I hope you've watched it, and if you haven't watched our guide to eating tamales, the good news is that it applies. to everyone. Every Not everyone. It applies to every day of the year because you can find tamales year round. If you want to know how to eat tamales, where to find them, so forth and so on, just pursue our very own guide to eating tamales in Puerto Vallarta, and you can do that by becoming a supporting member of Coffee and Headlines. The link to do that is down here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tomorrow is Walking Wednesday. We are going to go someplace wonderful, and I hope you'll join me as we do that. Between now and then, have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon.